Watch out, we're coming at you hot and fresh for season 3, baby.
Peace 1008 family, we is back with another video, and we are here to break down the latest article that was dropped on the Power Universe. Yesterday, we found out that the Tariq and Tommy spinoff is real, and the writers came out and confirmed it. Power Legacy will be the 5th installment, which will make the Power Origin show the 4th installment. But I'm not going to wait too much longer, let's get into this breakdown. Now, many of us already speculated that Tariq was talking to Tommy at the end of Power Ghost, and the conversation did sound like Tommy's back was against the wall, and the way that everything was trending at the end of season 2 of Force, that theory doesn't sound far-fetched at all. I'm expecting to see Tariq cross over into Force at the end of the season and to go help Tommy fight the war in Chicago. Now, we know in Chicago we have Tommy and the CBI versus Miguel, as Tommy has already took over majority of Chicago. But season 3 will be interesting as everyone is playing their own angle, especially Diamond, Jannard, and Shanti. At the end of season 2, we had Jannard meet with King Kilo, who was played by Big Baby Davis, who is actually in prison right now, in real life, which is crazy to say. But Jannard and Diamond has already made a move against Tommy, being that Diamond and Jannard is giving up D-Mac, which is Tommy's nephew, and they already know that is a no-go. So, let's switch over to Tariq, who is now the biggest drug dealer in New York, who is currently running boroughs with his drug operation. He is now getting directly supplied from Noma brother Chinadu, who is residing in Africa to keep up with his day-to-day operation. So with Reek running New York, Braden running the fight clubs, Effie running the college campuses, and Diana takes for power like Monet, I think it'll be interesting to see what characters they bring into a Tariq Tommy spinoff. Is it a way for them to keep actors from both shows? It'll be interesting to see Tariq and D-Mac meet up just to hear what type of conversations they be having. Another thing is, what will be the outcome for Maria? If I'm correct, I think this was her in the trailer, but if so, then will she be around for what's next? Will we see Kate and JP if they survive the end of Force? Will we see them in Legacy or even D-Mac? We got to know that some of these character arcs is going to end at the end of this season, but which one will it be? Now, another thing that was mentioned in the article was the location of the show. We already know that it won't be Chicago because we heard the writers and Joseph Sikora mention that Tommy's journey was going to be over in Chicago. So some think maybe Tommy go back to New York, which is a possibility, but I don't know about that because he's dead last known to the feds in New York. But maybe it could happen because it is power, and when you're dealing with power, you just never say never. Some think LA, which will be cool to see the Power Universe shot outside a cold winter to see what Power would look like in the spring or summer. Also would be interested to see the West Coast culture have an impact on the world of Power, to see how Tariq and Tommy would build a drug organization with multiple gang factions. We all know about the gang history in LA with the Crips, Bloods, Mexican gangs, and hundreds of other gang factions. We know back in OG Power, we saw Ghost and Tommy able to bring all 5 boroughs together to make money. But if Tommy thought it was hard to keep the RSKs and Soldado Nation working together, he's going to be in for a ride trying to keep LA gangs in check to stay focused on the goal. On the flip side though, it has been done before, by a name you should be familiar with. Demetrius and Terry Flannery built up a West Coast faction of BMF that was consisted of multiple gang members from different factions. A lot of people wonder how Meech and T did it, but when everyone committed to a goal together and able to put petty differences aside, you can get anything done no matter the task. And with money involved, it made the situation more easier. I said that to say this: if the move is to LA, it's a lot to dig into. There's a lot of ways you can implement different things into the show, like we see in Raising Kanan, the 90s street fashion, gold chains, Pelly Pale trench leather coats, vintage 90s Jordan tracksuits, and the starter sweatshirts. All these little things make Raising Kanan one of the best series due to its euphoric and nostalgic feeling it gives you, because it's engraved in that late 80s to 90s culture. And this is the chance they would get to move in the modern day Power spinoff to the West Coast, to introduce the show to a new side of culture that isn't normally involved due to Power being originated from the East Coast, Southside Jamaica, Queens to be exact. The other location that was mentioned was London, which I think is a small chance that Tommy and Tariq end up there, but I do believe one day there will be some type of Power spinoff that will be based in London or outside of America. We saw in Power Book 2 Ghost for an episode that Tariq and Effie was overseas when Noma made them steal from Francesco Lombardi, who we found out later was Noma's ex-husband, and that she had a daughter in the state. Another thing I wanted to touch on was I heard some people say that Power Origins would go up to when Kanan goes to prison, but in the article it say it will follow the early years of Ghost and Tommy right after the events of raising Kanan. So maybe we do have a time jump during Power Origins because Kanan doesn't go to prison until 03 or 04. But on the other hand, we could see the backstory of Catcher St. Patrick, which is Ghost's dad, and see a young Kate Egan and how the decision she made impacted a young Tommy. A lot of stories to tell, like what decision was Breeze making that was going to get everyone killed? Who was the thugs that killed Ghost's dad? Did Breeze and Kanan have a hand in it to further pull Ghost into the street? And how would they explain Tommy's story? Because we know Tommy used to get beat up until Ghost started to back him. So to see the direction this can go will be interesting. A lot of stories to cover, and I hope it's not a time jump. I just had to let it be known what side of the fence I was on. And another thing I want to know is what did Ghost mean when he told Tyreek that Breeze was standing in the way of his future? That would be interesting to find out to get the details of what Ghost exactly meant. But the last thing we did see is the CEO of Stars coming on multiple spinoffs, which will expand the Power universe. And no doubt, being able to expand on different spinoffs will give the stories more depth. Like I would like to see a Lobo spinoff or a spinoff on Snap, Pop, and DEFCON early days of the Southside Jamaica drug trade. But most definitely, they would crush the expectations if they do eventually veer off to doing more spinoffs. Now, that will be all for today. But don't worry, we will be dropping more content soon. Just make sure to hit the like, comment, and subscribe button to stay up to date with the latest videos. But I'm checking out 1008 Game. Stay tuned.